All right, we're going to start with Hunter with the first question. And the first question is a simple one, but it carries a lot of weight. It's why are you running for president of the Student Government Association?
All right, well, he introduced me. My name is Hunter Dawson. I'm a junior here, criminology, criminal justice major. A little history about me in the SGA. I've been in the SGA for 2 years, which makes me the most experienced presidential candidate here. When you talk about the SGA, there's a big budget. We're talking $100,000 that your student tuition, it's called the activity fee, comes out of your tuition and goes to that budget. You want a candidate that can control that budget. The SGA president makes the budget. He chooses where your money goes. So please, when you vote, remember that. Also, let me tell you about our platform, what we stand for, and what I will do as SGA president. Number one, campus energy. Our campus is dead. When you walk to class, there's nothing going on. No wonder the retention rate is so bad, because people don't want to get, it's boring. They'd rather sleep than go to class. And that's a problem. So how do you fix that? Well, you got to reach out to all departments, not just a certain few, every department. Because I've talked to people in the arts and communication, and they feel like they're not represented. They feel like they're disconnected from campus, and they're only on the north side. So they need to be represented. Also, you need to bring athletics to campus. You need to get excited. Have the basketball team. Have a day where you meet the basketball team. Have all that autographs, not just at the FedEx Forum. Bring them here and have them in a debate or something like that where they can be heard, and you can ask them questions from the crowd. Find out about them. Also, academic excellence and retention rate. I don't know if you know this, but only about 30% of incoming freshmen make it to their sophomore year. That's a problem. Well, how do you fix that? It goes back to campus energy. You gotta do something exciting. It's really easy. You hang up banners on campus, you make it exciting. You look at UT Knox, LSU, Alabama, they're crazy. That's why everybody wants to go there. Nobody wants to come to Memphis because we're not excited. We're not having fun. And we want to make that change for you. Also, campus safety. Y'all's safety is very important to me. Also, my safety is very important. I take that very important. We want to keep it safe for y'all. So how do you fix that? Well, we've been working on through the SGA with the sorority swiping systems. We're going to try to get them that. I spoke to Peter Groendijk. The only reason they haven't gotten it yet is because 2 sororities have yet to confirm to do that. And also, the SGA is not funding that, so don't be misled by any candidate that we're funding that. All we can do is propose it. The sororities have to pay for it themselves. Also, last but not least, the Hope Scholarship. Now, that's $4,000. I like that $4,000. Y'all like your $4,000? The ones that have the hope? I like it. All right, I want to keep that. I want to keep that in your pocket. Well, how do you do that? You got to keep you updated on what's going on. If you don't know what the legislators are doing down in Nashville, how are you going to fight against that? Well, you let me president, and I will create a way for you to know what's going on. And you have to have a president who wants to stand up and take that act. So with that being said, remember the Making a Change Party is the MAC party, and we want to make a change for you. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll go to Russell.
Yeah, as Ben said, I'm Russell Bourne. I'm running for SGA president with the United Students Party. I first want to echo what Carrie said. I appreciate you all coming out and taking time and listening to what we said. One of the reasons I ran for SGA president was, and you've heard many of us talk about the problems facing the university. Well, you know, it's easy for any one of us to get up here and talk about things like retention rate, like athletics, like security, like parking. I am the only candidate up here who has addressed those issues with their platform of senators and bills. And first of all, my opponent talks about experience. The fact of the matter is this campaign is not about who served the longest in the SGA. This campaign is about visions and solutions. I have offered those over and over again as senator with those bills. I'm the only one, as I said, who has presented those solutions. Secondly, my opponent wanted to talk about the sorority card reader. It was I who implemented that. You can all go check the SGA website and look at the legislative branch. You will see it pass November 10th, 2011, and see Russell Bourne as a prime sponsor on that. Secondly, I met with Peter Groendijk in December. Nick Mastron was with me with that. I was the one who talked to him about that. I don't know where my opponent is getting his facts, but the fact of the matter remains. I am the one who passed that legislation. I feel that I have the visions and solutions to offer those. That is one reason I ran for SGA president. The other reason would be this. With Tiger Nation, I've just had pride in Tiger Nation for the longest time. My grandfather began to take me to football games when I was 7 years old. And I became part of the Memphis community then. And it's with a heavy heart that he passed away less than a week ago, and I just want to continue to live by his example, and whether I'm SGA president or not. But those are the two reasons right there that I'm running for SGA president.
We have to turn it on.
Testing. Hi everyone, my name is Nicholas Masterin. I'm running with the Sure Party. Just a couple of things. As far as experience goes, I too have been in the SGA in 2 different branches for 2 years now. And as far as whether I believe that leadership is a major key role in SGA, I think it is. And I think it's not shown necessarily by experience, but by proven track record within the Senate. I passed 12 pieces of legislation, bills and resolutions. I'm the only candidate up here who has an actual plan of action when taking office. I have made it public to the Daily Helmsman as far as an expansion of the executive branch, so that the executive branch, who for all intents and purposes does a lot of the promotion here on campus, can actually do more promotions here on this campus of arts, of athletics, of philanthropy events, of service events. I'm the only candidate who stood up in the SGA meeting and opposed a constitutional amendment that would limit the amount of students in the student senate to 24 to 25 senators as opposed to 36. It's not that we need less voices in SGA. We need more voices. We need more people from different areas of this university to understand and to be able to come together and to actually present a cohesive plan. As far as what I did in SGA, I helped, I met, as Russell said, with Peter Gronendijk about the sorority houses. It was not my piece of legislation, it was Russell's, but I met with him about that. Other things, as far as the plus-minus system of grading, retention rates are a big part of why this university has to improve and succeed. And I believe that by really looking at those programs that were mentioned earlier, ESP and the early intervention programs, we can strengthen our college. I don't want students to be disconnected from the executive branch. I want them to actually be held accountable, the executive branch be held accountable by the 25,000 students. And I think we've lost that. I would love to see SGA be 100 students rather than 20. I am not privileged. I am not entitled. I am one of the 25,000 students here at the University of Memphis, and I'm running for your president of Student Government Association. Thank you.
All right, the next question will start with Russell. And the SGA budget is at record levels, and tuition is going up almost yearly. Students want to know where their money is being spent. In regards to the SGA budget, what would you keep, add, and or eliminate?
First off, to begin with, I was, for the most part, happy with the SGA budget this year. I'm sure all of us were affected by the free parking lot we got for football and basketball games. We all talked about marketing athletics and how important it is. That's a great thing to have, to make it easy for students to not have to fight traffic, or not have to pay $10 to go downtown for a basketball game once a week. I would definitely keep that. And other things I like are with the Political Speakers Commission. I'm sure many of us know that tomorrow night, Howard Dean and Fred Thompson are going to be speaking here on campus. That is a great way for the university to get national recognition. You're talking about 2 guys who were, just votes away from being leader of the free world. We need to, everyone's talking about marketing the university. These are things we must keep in the SGA budget to market this university, to get national recognition, and to just get us seen on the map. And one thing you said about tuition going up yearly, as one of our senators, Jonathan Moffett, talked about, there are solutions to that. The graduation rate, and there are other variables that go with it, but the graduation rate in the state of Tennessee, the higher the retention rate is, the more money the school will receive. And another thing, as Jonathan said, the TBR. We are under the same governing board as Southwest Community College. And obviously Governor Haslam has proposed and is fighting for us to get our own board, but that's what we need here. We need guys and men and women who are from Tiger Nation, who are part of this campus, who are alumni, to be on our board and making those decisions. It's working for UT. As much as I hate them, it's working for UT. People flock to that school. It's tradition. It's a powerhouse. As Jonathan said, they're only paying roughly $200 more than us and getting the college experience and getting nicer facilities. And that's, we need to start taking a page out of that book to handle with tuition. Thank you.
Now we'll go to Nick. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, that's fine. Thank you. First off, I want to make the budget more publicly known to this university. I have with me both of the budget proposals and have spoken to President DeWitt about the budget. I've looked through it. There are a number of things that President DeWitt advised that we re-examine, and I intend to re-examine those. And quite frankly, he advised that there's probably about $50,000 that we could actually figure out better uses for. So with that, I think posting this budget, not only in the Daily Helmsman, but online so that people can view this budget, so that students who pay into Student Government Association know where their money's being spent. As far as making this university the collegiate experience, one thing that we have to take into account is that we have an approximate age, an average age of student who is 29 years old, okay? We have to incorporate those students. 90% of our students are commuter students. We have to incorporate those students. We have to incorporate all of these functions in order to have a cohesive university like the University of Tennessee. It's not because that they have prettier banners. Believe me, volunteer orange is not a pretty color, okay? Tiger blue is a much prettier color. With that, I think that what we need at this university is actually a cohesive effort from all different peoples here at this university, all different candidates here on the stage. I'm the only candidate up here who is willing to work with anybody, who is willing to share this podium with anybody in this room right now. If we've been going around, my party, the Sure Party has been going around talking to individuals, photographing what they want to see changed here. Those things need to be taken into consideration with this budget. We need to be more mindful of what students want here at this university. Yes, we need to promote athletics. Yes, we need to promote arts. Yes, we need to promote what it is to be a University of Memphis student. With that, as far as a budget is concerned, there are many ways that we can each look at the figures and we can each make different decisions on the appropriate financial measures. And again, I ask for your vote. Thank you.
Now I'll move to Hunter. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. What we would do is, the first thing we would do, the role of the SGA president is to be what? A voice of the students, and also the leader of the organization that represents the voice of the students. So it's not one man, it's not if I win or my opponents, it's not our job or my job to do that. You make that decision solely by himself. Now what we're going to do is we're going to think about the students. So we're going to send a poll out and see what the students want. Because remember, this money comes from their student activity fee, which when they pay tuition, this is their money and my money and your money. It's not just the SGA president's money. Why give him the power? Why should he just use a dictatorship and decide where all the money goes? That's not fair. That's not being a representation of the student body. That is a bad president. So we're going to poll the student body, see what they want. We're going to show them last year's budget and see what they think about that and where the new budget should go. Take ideas, because that's what we're here for. Also, now, in my experience in the SGA, I sit on 2 committees, and they want to talk about my experience, not about experience. Well, I would like to correct them. It is about experience. Because the longer you're into something, the more you know about it. When you're controlling a budget with over $100,000, that's a lot of money, a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility. If you make a wrong decision, you got approximately 23,000 students that are going to be very angry with you and have elected you in your position. So remember that. Also, now, one of those committees I sit on is currently this year is the finance committee. Now, I've sat through tons of interviews, having people come, and this is students. Students come in, and they want to go travel and broaden their experience and learn real-world skills, and also present and compete against other universities, all the hard work they've done here. Like we've had the engineering program, which our engineering program is a center of excellence. What that means is every professor has the highest degree attainable in their field of study, and all do credible research. That is a high-performing, state-of-the-art institution. And these students come in, they only have $5,000 to build a car, and they don't even have the funding to get the car and go, hardly. Other schools got $15,000, $20,000 budgets. All they got is $5,000. And all we have is $90,000 to work with. We have tons of students that come through there, and we have to turn students down because not enough money is going through there. And I hate that. I really do. Because they pay so much money, and money's being spent on political speakers. Why spend, $150,000 on 2 political speakers when your own students that come here and pay that tuition can't go and produce their works? Why do that? That's a problem. I don't care to hear political speakers. I want my students that pay that money, pay tuition, I want them to be able to go where they want to go and represent the University of Memphis. Because those speakers will come and go. They will be here for 2 hours. These students will go here all year. So remember that. Vote back.
Okay, our last question is a surprise, more personal question, and we pretty much created the question based off of your campaign platforms and also things that you all stated, for instance, in David Hilson. So we're going to begin with Nick. You said in Hilson that you were the only senator to produce quality bills that could be followed up and implemented. Please explain to the audience the specific goals of your term. If you are elected, and what steps you would take to implement the said goals.
These same goals that I passed in SGA, just for clarification purposes. As far as, I have 12 bills or resolutions, and that's one thing that the student body needs to be aware of. SGA does not have the power to pass bills over which it does not have jurisdiction. As far as these 12 bills, many of them have already been followed up and implemented. One of those was the resurrecting, if you will, of the Model United Nations program here on campus that had been dead for several years. One of them, and that's fully been implemented, we attended a conference and whatnot. One of them regarding Coca-Cola products here on this campus. I was put on a special committee and we found that it was in financially best interest of about $500,000 not to do such. To deny students the products that they actually have shown a greater demand for rather than Coca-Cola products. The exploration of the plus-minus system, that is one that I intend to follow up on immediately as president of SGA because I think that that presents one of the biggest grading issues here at this university. We're all students before we're anything else here. We are all students, every one of us in this room. And I think grades are the absolute most important thing. Another called for ISBN numbers to be placed upon textbook, the online required textbooks being provided by college. And that's in the process of being implemented right now. As far as the bills that I've currently presented to SGA, the majority of them have been followed up upon. As far as quality bills, I do research before I even write the bill, about 2 weeks of research. I spend about 4 weeks on average implementing each bill. That is what I mean by qualitative. That's the type of results that you would see as president. Many of you may be aware, we hosted an event, as I mentioned earlier, where we actually asked students what they wanted changed. Every single one of those suggestions, comments, concerns here at this university, that will be examined over the course of this upcoming summer and, if possible, implemented by the start of the fall term. That's the type of quality and qualitative efforts that I'm willing to put in. I spend approximately, I don't know, Dean Peterson, you probably know how much time I spend in the SGA Senate chamber late at night. Recently I've spent 11, maybe 10 o'clock at night in there arguing for the students. This is what I am. this is one of the 25,000. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, Hunter.
You said in the Hillsman that you will work to change and secure HOPE funding for students, meaning that many students here rely on the HOPE scholarship. What would you do to change it, and how would you secure it?
All right, great question. That was number 4 point. Also, just to reiterate, on our 4 points, which are campus energy, academic excellence and retention rate, campus safety, and the one this question addresses, the HOPE scholarship protection. All right, back in this past year, the legislative branch has been talking about this. They're trying to decide whether the ACT score should be taken and the high school GPA for incoming freshmen. So if that's done, what does that make? It's harder for people to get into school. And what does that do? That hurts the society as a whole. That's a problem. We don't want that. But then now let's talk about how it relates to the students here now. All right, that is $4,000 in your pocket. And I'm not a rich kid. I have to work hard in class. I know I have a suit on, but I worked hard for this suit. I know how to get in the trenches, make money, and buy this. So, and I know you all do too. All of my friends some have 2 jobs, some have 1 job, but they all work. And we don't have the privilege like Rose, where you go and you don't have to work. You just go to school all the time. So that money is very important. I want to keep that $4,000 in your pocket. And how do you do that? You have to know what's going on. Because when you're working those 2 jobs, those 3 jobs, and going to school trying to keep your 4.0s, your 3.5s, so you can better yourself in life and make something of yourself, and you go to grad school, law school, doctorate school, anything, any graduate school above undergraduate, that takes money. So you don't want to be in the hole more. That HOPE scholarship is there for a reason, to help you, to make you be successful. And we don't want them to tamper with that. And if they're talking about GPAs, and they're talking about ACT scores, changing that, what's coming next? The state of Tennessee is running out of money. The University of Memphis, we have thousands of problems with maintenance. I'm sure y'all went to bathrooms where the soap didn't work, or the toilet paper is out, or something like that, or the buildings are nasty, stuff's broke, not being fixed. Well, why? Well, because the University of Memphis doesn't have the funds, and that comes from the wonderful our president, the wonderful lady, Dr. Shirley C. Raines. I sat on the student advisory board, and she discussed that to us. We don't have the funding. So where's the state going to go next? If they try to take it's easy to pull from scholarship money, that's free money. I mean, they can pull from it, they can take that. And if they do, as your student body president, I will fight that. I will represent you and not allow them to take that. Thank you so much. Vote MAC.
Thank you. Our final question will be for Russell.
You stated that you will continue to bring the University of Memphis to the same scale as other preeminent universities in the region and country. What have you done as of now, and what will you do if elected as president to achieve this goal?
All right. First of all, is to put us on the map with other universities, such as University of Florida. I think that's a great model. I have a stark contrast with my opponent here. My opponent said he didn't like the idea of the ACT and the GPA score. Well, a year ago, I would actually agree with that. I thought that, the lower maybe the entrance exams are, the more people would come. But the fact of the matter is, when you look around across the country, the higher the scale, and I'm not suggesting we go to a 32 or anything like that, but the higher the scale of academic excellence, the higher the graduation rate. The University of Florida's 6-year graduation rate in 2010 was 84.4%. That is nearly 50% higher than the University of Memphis. First of all, if you have to take pride in academics, and looking at those scores, who gets in and who doesn't, we need to seriously start to look at that. And also, too, for those people who want to be part of Tiger Nation, we need to take another page out of the University of Florida's book. There's a small community college in Gainesville called Santa Fe Community College. And people who can't get in the University of Florida go there a year or 2, and they get their grades up, and then they come to the University of Florida. That's something we need to do with Southwest. Label it Gateway to Tiger Nation, partner up with them. That's one area we can do that. With athletics, whether we like it or not, athletics is one of the main ways your school is most visible. One of the most interesting statistics I've ever heard was that in 2010, when Butler went to the national title game, the next year their enrollment went up 67%. And once again, with the University of Florida, Steve Spurrier, he came to coach there, put them on the map. In his time there, 30,000 students to 50,000 students in 10 years. Now, is that all due to athletics? No, not at all. But building athletic tradition has so much to do with why people flock to your school. It makes them feel part of a community. It makes them feel part of tradition. And alumni donations and the marketing exposure you receive. Now, I know you're giving me 1 minute and I have a short time to answer this, but the bills I've put into place, such as retention rate, I passed the bill on that. It would also affect tuition costs. With athletics, I was on the student athletic committee. I co-created that with Tyler DeWitt. They got us free parking at basketball and football games. They got us free t-shirts that did those things that would put us on a map. And once again, I want to reiterate here with the last 30 seconds I have. I do not believe this is about experience. I believe this is about visions and solutions. And on the issues of parking, security, tuition, athletics, it's easy for us to talk a game up here. It's easy for us to say the right things. But let's look at everyone's past record this past year. From the time we were in to the time we were out. I'm the only one who stands before you and can say I was the one who took action on issues of athletics, parking, security, and tuition. And I did that as my platform as a senator, and that's what I will continue to do as president.
Thank you. We will now give you all 1 minute for closing remarks, beginning with Nick. Go.
Hello? There we go. I would just like to say that you hear a lot of big ideas. I would like to know the actual exact solutions that you plan on implementing in this upcoming term if you are elected president. As far as what I have spoken about, these are issues that I have taken a stance on since I was a freshman senator. Okay, these are issues that I have vocalized to this university for 2 years. These are issues that we can achieve as president of SGA. The SGA President's Council does warrant with TBR upon the retention rate. We all will warrant with TBR upon the retention and restructuring of the Hope Scholarship. I myself received $5,000 from the Hope. I need that to go to school. If I don't, I can't be a student here. Thank you.
Thank you. Russell?
Closing remarks, once again, I just wanted to reiterate what I said. With the issues, if you talk to any student, the issues that are facing them the most are tuition and parking. We are a main commuter school. So someone who just gets in their car and goes to class and then basically gets back in their car and goes home, those are the issues that are going to face them the most. I've passed legislation on that. I am a candidate up here who has fought for that, who has passed bills on that and using their platform properly. Unfortunately, many people, when they say they go to the University of Memphis, unfortunately there's a perception that they settle for less. The solutions are easy. Just take a page out of the University of Florida's book, out of an SEC book, and start to transform this school. We have taken great steps to do that. Shirley Raines, she has risen the academic level here tremendously. The Big East, we're taking steps to get us on the map with athletics. We need to continue to do this. And I, as senator, have proven in my year here that I have taken all the steps to do that, to implement these solutions that are successful across the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Hunter?
All right. You've heard a lot about bill flow and passing legislation. I'd like to harp on that. Well, let me explain something to you. It's easy to write something on paper. Now, all the bills you've heard, how much have you seen done? How much action have you actually seen taking place? You've heard about ISBN numbers for the books. Are they on the books? You've heard about sorority swiping system. Are they on the doors? The answer is no. Please don't interrupt. Thank you. But that being said, it's not being done. So how about this? Actually, I've been Mr. Masterin's freshman senate advisor. He wasn't freshman senate, so I advised him. So he knows my teachings. Russell ran last year. He lost. He was appointed. I didn't get the opportunity to advise him, but if I had the opportunity, I would love to have to. But also remember my experience, guys. I've been a freshman senate advisor for 2 years. I've trained freshmen. I've been in the SGA for 2 years. I've watched 2 presidents work. I know how to make a change, and that's what the MAC party stands for, making a change. Thank you very much. Vote MAC.
Thank you.
That concludes the candidates forum. Thank you all for participating, and thanks everybody for coming out and hearing it. I want to leave a few words of wisdom for tonight and the poster mayhem that I know is going to go on after this little shindig. I know you all know the policy probably much better than I do. Just please don't put stuff on cars. Don't put stuff on the walls of the outside of buildings. Don't put stuff on doors. I don't like calls at 2 in the morning. But again, thank you all for coming out. I really appreciate it, and let's have a great election. Voting starts at 8 o'clock.